Okay, welcome to our second video of the data unit and our third video overall. Today I'm going to be talking just a little bit about the mean, what we use the mean for, and how we calculate it. When you take your notes today, I want you to write all of the headings for every slide on the left side of your Cornell notes, and then all of the information that is on the slide, put it on the right side. So you're taking notes using my PowerPoint with the headings and the bullet points that are on my slides, and I'll tell you what to write down. So the title of your Cornell notes is the mean. So write objective on the left side of the Cornell notes, and on the right side you write, we will understand the mean and be able to calculate the mean of a set of data. So by the end of this video, I just want you to understand generally what the mean is and what we use it for, and you should be able to calculate the mean from a simple set of data. So if you need to pause the video right now, pause it and write this down. So here's just the basics of the mean. First of all, for sixth grade purposes, when you hear the word mean, I want you to think average. And what you generally do is you take your data, so you've created these statistical questions, and you've collected all this excellent data that's a whole bunch of numbers that tells you a little bit about your population. Well, the mean basically takes those numbers and kind of evens them out for the data. So I have this example here where we have 4 sets of data. So let's say it's just something simple. What's your favorite number? Okay, what is everyone's favorite number? One person says 5, one person says 7, one person says 8, one person says 4. I don't know. It could be how many siblings do you have? One person says 5, 7, 8, and 4. To find the mean, all we're really doing is evening out. We say, okay, if we just spread this data out through everyone, what would this look like? So in this picture, our data, we would take 1 from the 7 column, move it over to the 5, take 2 from the 8, move them over to the 4 column. So we spread our data out over the whole population. So nobody has more, nobody has less, everyone has the same amount. Of course, we know that's not totally true when we take data from a population, but when we spread it out, we find the mean, and it gives us one number that tells us a little bit about the whole population. So for this one, if you count them up, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for everyone. So we surveyed 4 people. We'll say siblings, like the siblings question. Ask them how many siblings they have. One person says 5, one says 7, one says 8, one says 4. When we find the mean of that, we spread all those numbers out over those 4 people that answered our question. When we spread the numbers out, we get 6. So the average, the mean number of siblings of these 4 people in our example would be 6. The average person has 6 siblings. Now, if you notice, there isn't even one person that has 6. But the mean is spreading out the data and saying, okay, if everyone had the same amount in our population, what would that number be? So on your Cornell notes, you should have the mean basics on the left and these 2 bullet points on the right. How to calculate the mean, okay? Again, how to calculate goes on the left of your Cornell notes, and this bullet point, all these words, goes on the right. So this is how we find the mean. In math class, we find the mean by adding up all the numbers and dividing by the amount of numbers we have. So you take all the numbers that you've collected when you asked your statistical questions and divide by how many people you asked. So if we're surveying all the people in the orcas and we ask them how big, what size shoes do you wear, we add up all of those answers, all the numbers for the shoes, and divide by how many orcas there are in the class that day, how many people we asked. So if we asked 17 people, we would divide that number by 17. So let's look at this example. Okay, you do not have to write any of this down. We're just going to go through this example. Just watch and follow along. So let's say we loaded up an elevator with 3 people. Okay, one person weighs 130 pounds. This is my person here weighing 130. One person weighs 190, and one person weighs 160. To find the average weight of all the people on the elevator, the first thing we do is add up 130 plus 190 plus 160. When you add up 130 plus 190 plus 160, that gives us 480. So if you add up all the numbers of everyone on the elevator, It's 480 pounds. So that's the first step of the mean, adding up all the numbers, okay? But there's a second step. You have to divide by how many numbers there are. So in our elevator example, we started with 3 numbers, 1 for each person. We started with 3 people. So we divide our total by 3. So we have 480. When you divide something, all you're doing is splitting up that number into that many equal parts. So when you split up 480 into 3 equal parts, okay, you get 3 160s. So 480 divided by 3 is 160. Okay, so 160 times 3 equals 480. I'm going to go back and show you that again. So dividing just takes this whole number that you've got and splits it into equal parts. And whatever number you divide by, that's how many equal parts you get. So if I was going to divide this by 4, I would get 4 equal parts, not 3. Okay, if I was going to divide it by 2, I would get 2 equal parts. But I want to divide by 3, so I want to get 3 equal parts. So we take that number, and it becomes 3 equal blocks of 160. That's division. What that tells me is that the average weight of the person in the elevator is 160 pounds. So what does the mean mean? Okay, this is what you write on the left side of your Cornell notes. What does the mean mean? The mean is what we call a measure of central tendency. And we're going to learn more about a couple other measures of central tendency. Measure of central tendency means that it's telling us something about the middle of the population. Okay, so we collect all this data with our statistical questions, and then we find the mean. The mean tells us about something that's happening kind of in the middle of that population. So if our population is all the people that live for life, the mean tells us what's going on in the middle of that. If our population is all of the 6th graders, mean tells us what's going on in the middle. Okay? It gives one number to the entire population. Like in that first example with those pink dots, not one person in that population said 6 for how many siblings they had, but when you average it all out, when you spread it all out over the whole data, it gives you about 6. So you say the average number of siblings in that population is 6, or the mean number of siblings in that population is 6. Why would we want to know that? It just kind of makes it easier. Mean, and when we go do median, mode, and range, all of these kind of give us little pictures of our data. And it helps a lot when we're surveying large populations of people, because we don't want to talk about every single person individually because it takes too much time. So the mean gives us one number to talk about. We can say something like the average test score was 75 on the first test and the average test score was 90 on the second test. Well, that tells you that the second test, the students did better. Okay, it gives us one number to start analyzing data and to start learning stuff about our population. Okay, so you guys have a great night. Come back all ready to go, and I will have some fun activities planned for you. Okay, just in case I ask you for the password is 1 o'clock, because that's what time it is, and it's time for me to go to lunch. I will see you guys later. Bye.